Hello, my dear students, and welcome back in Proficiency Skills in English. I am teacher Taha Abu-Horia. This is the sixth lecture number 6, and it will be about speaking skills. We will start speaking about the skills of speaking. And we know that speaking English is very important. So, we have to know what are these skills of speaking to be able to speak English in an excellent way. How to overcome the most common problems when learning speaking. It is the same idea. How can we overcome the most common problems that we face when we learn speaking? Let's have a look at the speaking skills. If we want to overcome the problem in learning speaking, let's have a look at the speaking skills. This is the solution. Actually, we have 8 of the speaking skills in English. We will study in this lecture just 2 of them. And in the next lecture, we will continue studying the rest of them. Number 1 is becoming a confident speaker. Number 2, fluency and accuracy. 3, finding the right words. 4, learning language in chunks. 5, showing where you are going. 6, keeping the listener interested. 7, being a supportive listener. And finally, number 8, sounding natural. Let's now have a look at the first skill of speaking, which is becoming a confident speaker. When we speak about being a confident, we have to know what's the meaning of confidence. Confidence actually is a very important element in learning to speak a language. When you want to speak, you have to speak with confidence. So confidence actually is a very important element in speaking. Confidence means speaking without having the feeling of being afraid or worrying about something. You have to speak with full confidence. This question is coming to our mind. Why learners do you think worry to speak? Some speakers, they said, learners actually when they speak, they feel afraid when they speak. They can write paragraphs, essays without any problem. They can write with no grammatical mistake, with no spelling mistakes, but once it comes to speaking, they find that they face a problem. But what are the points or the reasons behind being afraid or having no confidence when they are speaking? Actually, the reason is coming from 2 points. Either you are afraid to make a mistake, or listeners will not understand them. Either when you speak, you are worried to speak because you are afraid to make a mistake. When you are making like a presentation, and the presentation actually is one kind of speaking activity. It's a speaking activity presentation. And today we are speaking about the skills of speaking. So I want you to focus a lot when you do the presentation, because you have to apply these skills when you do your presentation. And when we will make the last 2 lectures for presentation, so you have to apply them in your presentation. Anyway, so when you are speaking or making presentation, you worry to speak because either you are afraid to make a mistake. When you make a mistake, okay, the audience will laugh and they will mock on me, they will do jokes on me, they will laugh, you are afraid to make a mistake that listeners will not feel happy with me while I'm speaking. So I am worried to speak. Or the listeners will not understand me while I'm speaking. the listeners will not understand me. That's why learners actually feel worried to speak confidently. In spoken, many sentences are not grammatically correct. In spoken, many sentences are not grammatically correct. And this is natural. Sometimes when you make a presentation, you have some mistakes, or let's say errors, in speaking. Some errors in pronunciation. Okay? Some errors in grammar. You make some grammatical mistake when you speak. This is natural. Speakers repeat words like I mean, you know, these are, and other words. They are when they are making like for example they are narrating a story, or they are making a presentation, or where they are in a conversation or a dialogue, they are repeating these words unconsciously. They don't mean to repeat these words, but it's repeated unconsciously. When you make, for example, you are speaking about what you did, for example, last summer. You said, I went on a vacation and it was a perfect. I went on a vacation and the vacation was amazing. You know, we visited the amusement park, we played there, you know. So you can notice that these words are repeated. You know, you know, you know. I mean, I mean, I mean. So they are repeated unconsciously. And it's also, if you notice in Arabic, it's the same idea. It's repeated unconsciously. But focus about these sentences. Even if the grammar is not totally correct, even if the grammar, I'm speaking now about speaking in spoken, even if the grammar is not totally correct, the message can be understood easily. If you focus a lot about the message, about the idea that comes to your mind, about the message that you want to convey or to send to your listeners, to the audience, this is the most important. If it's the understood easily, this is the most important in speaking. Of course, grammar is important. I'm not saying that grammar is not important, but sometimes you make some errors in grammar while the listeners have not noticed that you have some grammatical mistake. So the message is understood. This is the most important part. Okay? If the message is given confidently, we are speaking about being confident. If you are giving the message confidently, you are speaking with confidence, no fear. You are not afraid to make a mistake, or to that. If anything, you fear that the listeners do not understand, or something is worrying in your mind, worrying you. So you are speaking and giving your message confidently. If the message is given confidently, the listener will not worry about your mistake, about any mistake that you did. So the mistakes, we are talking about the mistakes in grammar here. So if you do some mistakes in grammar while the message that you give is given confidently, no care a lot from the listeners for the mistakes that you did. How to be more confident? We are speaking about being confident. Confidence is very important in speaking. It's one of the most important skill in English, in speaking English. Okay, we want to be confident and more confident, but how? Actually, we have here 3 points to be more confident. Number 1, practice often. Practice a lot before you did what you want to say. What you want to say, before you say it, you have to repeat it more. Okay? Because once it comes to the actual practice, it will be very easy, more easier for you to do it. The more often you speak, the easier it becomes. And this is actually a fact It's a fact, of course, when you did your presentation. Imagine some people, they do their presentation for one time. They prepare it just one time before they do it in the class. And it becomes very difficult for them because they just prepare it just one time. They practice it, they deliver it in front of their friends or in front of their family or anywhere just for one time, and that's it. It will be very difficult for them to do it in front of in the actual class, in front of the teacher and his classmates. But if you practice that a lot, your presentation will be more easier because you will be more confident. You will the message that you want will be very clear in your mind. It will be very easy to be delivered to the audience, better than when you are not practicing what you did, your presentation or your speech more. So the more often you speak, the easier it becomes. Try to and how can you do that? It's by trying to be close to people speaking English. The people who are speaking English, try to be close to them, near, surrounding them. Try to be surrounded with people who are speaking English. And also the places, the locations that in your city or in your place, try to be in a place where English is spoken a lot. Try to be surrounded with people who are speaking English a lot, and also places where people are speaking in English. The second point to be more confident is by relaxing and thinking about the message. Relax and think about the message. Of course, if you want to be more confident, to lose your afraid or fear, being afraid or your fear, you have to relax. Relax. Don't be nervous when you are doing a presentation. Don't, as if you are holding your breath. You cannot even breathe when you do presentation or speak in general. So relax and just think about the message. Think about the topic of your presentation. Think about the topic that you did for in your speech, in speaking. Whatever you are doing, a kind of activity of speaking. So relax. Don't worry. Don't be nervous. To be easy for you to deliver the message that you want to send to your audience. You will be nervous if you only focus on grammar. And this is actually true. If you make a presentation, for example, and you just focus about the grammar, you focus a lot about the grammar more than to be with the message itself. The topic that you are talking about, you don't focus about the topic as you focus about the grammar. It will be very difficult. So try to do the opposite. And I'm not saying that grammar is not important. We should not focus about grammar. No, we have to focus on grammar, and at the same time you have to focus about the message, because the message is going to be conveyed through grammar. What you want, focus about this sentence. It's an interesting sentence. What you want to say is more important than how to say it. What do you mean by what you want to say? What you want to say is the message. What you want to say is the message, is the idea that comes in your mind, that you want to give it to the listeners, to the audience. This message, which is what you want to say, is more important than how to say it. It is more important than grammar. Okay? Grammar is important, but at the same time, actually the message is more important. Point in how to be confident, how to be more confident, is by this point, which is rehearse what you want to say. Rehearse what you want to say. What do we mean by rehearse? Rehearse, it means practice and repeat. repeat what you want to say a few times to be more confident. And this is true. Imagine one of your friends, or imagine yourself, you are doing a presentation. Your teacher asks you for doing a presentation, for example, next week. You went home, and when you went home, you started preparing yourself for the presentation every day. And you deliver your presentation every day, 2 times, 3 times, every day. Once the day of your presentation once it comes, it will be very easy for you, because you repeat and practice what you want to say. You repeat the presentation, the thing that you want to say a few times, and this will help you to be more confident. Okay, so this is what we mean by rehearse what you want to say. And imagine yourself that your teacher asked you for a presentation next week, and you went home. You didn't prepare anything, you didn't repeat it, you didn't practice, you didn't actually do anything. And before the day of your presentation, you just went home and prepared it just for 1 day and practiced it 1 time. Can you compare between the 2 cases? Once you prepare yourself and practice a lot and repeat it, and once you didn't prepare it a lot and you didn't practice it a lot, it will be different. Okay, actually here we have an activity. It was supposed that we are in the class, but we will not do it. So let's move. The second skill of speaking English is, this is the second skill in English. We have 8 skills. This is the second skill in English. It's fluency and accuracy. Fluency and accuracy. What do we mean by fluency and accuracy? So both of them, you have to be holding these 2 together. Fluency and at the same time accuracy. Fluency means being able to communicate your ideas without having to stop and think too much about what you are saying. This is actually what's the meaning of fluency. It means to be able to communicate your ideas, to send your ideas to others, but without having to stop and think too much. You stop while you are speaking, you stop a lot and think about what you want to say, and then you continue, and then you stop, and then you continue. This, if this happened, that means you are not having the ability of fluency. So if you want to be more, if you want to speak with the skills of speaking, you don't have to do that. You have to speak fluently. You have to have fluency, which means sending or communicating your ideas, your thoughts, without stopping a lot to think about what you want to say. The second point is accuracy. And what do we mean by accuracy? Accuracy actually means speaking accurately means that you speak without errors of grammar and vocabulary. That's it. So the first one is about the skills in speaking. That means you don't speak very slowly, and you don't have the some of the mistakes in. For example, while you are speaking, then you stop directly. You stop, suddenly you stop, and then you continue because you recall your ideas from your mind. So, but if you overcome this problem, you are going to speak fluently. While accuracy, speaking accurately means that you speak without errors, without mistakes of grammar and vocabulary. You speak without having errors and mistakes in grammar or vocabulary. You don't have grammatical mistake, and you don't have lexical mistakes, which means mistakes or errors in vocabulary. Speaking a language well actually needs both fluency and accuracy. Speaking fluently and also accurately. If you want to speak in English well, That means you speaking with the skill of English, you have to speak with both skills, which is the fluency and at the same time accuracy. You can make sure that you develop fluency and accuracy by, okay, we said that fluency and accuracy, both of them are important in speaking. So how can we achieve or develop ourselves in both fluency and accuracy? Actually, we have here some points. Number one is by identify your learning style. You have to identify or find out your learning style, which means because learners have different styles to learn. Some students or some learners, they are learners of accuracy. They focus a lot on accuracy. But some other students, some other learners, they focus on accuracy. So first of all, if you want to develop your fluency and accuracy, is by identifying your learning style. So show what kind of learner you are. Are you a learner who focuses on fluency or who focuses on accuracy? This is the first step to improve your spoken English, by identifying or knowing what is easy for you. Which one is easy for you? So, am I a learner of fluency? Am I the person who who speak fluently without stopping a lot to think? I'm speaking without any problem in pronunciation or in speaking as a native speaker. I'm speaking in fluently. Okay. If I'm this person, okay, I have to work on the other one, the difficult one, which is accuracy. While I'm speaking fluently, but I have some mistakes, some errors in grammar, in vocabulary. That means I have some mistakes in speaking accurately. So I will focus on the other side, and vice versa. If I'm the person who speak and focus, if I'm the learner who speak and I focus a lot on grammar and vocabulary, I don't have those mistakes. This is what's easy for me. It's easy for me to speak without errors in grammar, without mistakes in grammar or vocabulary. But actually, I'm stopping a lot while I'm speaking. I have the problem of or the difficulty in fluency, in speaking fluently. So I will work on the difficult one. Number B, the second point of how to be or how to develop ourselves in speaking fluently and at the same time accurately. Number 2 is focus on one area at a time. Don't focus about everything, all the areas at one time. So each time focus on and concentrate on one area. Okay? Think about your mistakes which you make quite often, which is repeated with you a lot. Okay? Think about it. While you are speaking, think about your mistakes. I have made a lot. This mistake I've repeated a lot. A lot of times I'm repeating the same mistakes. For example, I have like mistakes with tenses, grammar with tenses, with question forms, or speaking slowly. So I'm now thinking about preparing myself to focus about the area of my mistakes, of my weaknesses in speaking. This time, one time, I will just try to improve myself on one area. For example, today, I have, for example, weaknesses or mistakes when I'm speaking with tenses. Present simple, past simple, present progressive, past progressive, present perfect, past perfect, and so on. This time, I will just focus about this area. The second time, I will I will just focus about, for example, tenses, present simple, past simple. The second time I'll focus about question forms. The third time I'll focus about, so speaking slowly. I'm speaking slowly. I'll try to improve myself in. So after we think about the mistakes that we are often repeated, for example, the mistakes with tenses, in question forms, or in negative forms, or whatever. After that, then try to work on this problem, one area each time. Don't focus about every areas, all the areas at one time, because it will be very difficult and we will not get no benefits. But once we focus about each area at time, each time we will just focus about one difficulty that we face or mistakes that we are repeated a lot. It will be more easier, and gradually, day by day, it will be very more easier for us to speak fluently and at the same time accurately. So, but do not think about other mistakes. So just each time work on one problem. The last point here is to vary your practice. Varying your practice. And this is the last point in how to be speaking fluently and accurately, is by varying your practice. And what do you mean by varying your practice? It means you have to practice in different ways, try to practice different activities, different for example, different kind of speaking, different stories, different grammars, different mistakes that we did. So each time it should be repeated. So by this, you will be practicing differently, varying your practice in different areas, in different places, with different people, with different topics, and different activities. And this is in both in fluency and at the same time in accuracy. Vary your practice in speaking fluently, speaking without stopping too much to think, and also practicing and varying your practice in accuracy, in grammar, with mistakes in your grammar or vocabulary. So I hope that you understand everything. That's it for today. I hope that you are interested with the lesson. And if you have any question, you are very welcomed to contact me, and do not hesitate to ask me any question anytime. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and goodbye.